There's just simply not enough houses to go round.
The focus has been on first home buyers and home ownership, and that's been at the cost of the rental market.
The very idea that tenants should be competing against each other Hunger Games style for what little housing there is available is totally unacceptable to me.
Did you have sport today?
Yeah.
What did you do for sport?
As a childcare worker, single mum Lara Valesky can't afford to buy her own home.
We'll let him go for a run down near the baseball fields.
Looking for housing, it was very difficult for me to find something that would accommodate to my needs. It would look like I would have to move back in with my family to be able to afford accessible things in life.
Originally from Sydney, she moved to the north of Wollongong, hoping for cheaper rent. She then discovered she couldn't afford to rent here either.
Being so close to family and close to shopping and schools and everything, where I needed to be, I couldn't afford to be, and it was very upsetting.
Lara and her daughter have just moved into a government subsidised rental property after waiting 4 years for government help. The means-tested support means she pays roughly $300 a week. Without the subsidy, she'd be paying $650 a week. She says she'd barely be able to survive.
It would look like under $100 because of all the other utility and bills I need to pay as well.
Being priced out of the rental market and never being able to own is the reality for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Australians today.
A new Anglicare rental affordability study has found that less than 2% of the nation's rental properties are affordable for tenants on the minimum wage.
The availability of housing for households to rent has become a lot tighter, and that includes the cities as well.
Increases in rents are far outstripping wages, which grew only 2.5% last year. Advocates for tenants say the issue of rent has been getting little attention this election cycle. It's the cost of living as well as interest rates grabbing all of the headlines. But they say it's been an issue years in the making and it needs urgent attention.
For a couple of decades, we've had worsening rental affordability, and the focus of that has been the capital cities. Over the last couple of years, though, particularly this COVID pandemic period, it's really the regional centres and the smaller capitals that have seen the worst rental affordability problems for people.
During the pandemic, house prices soared by 25%, not just in the cities, but also the regions. City planning researcher Dr. Chris Martin says in response to the exodus of city workers, many landlords cashed in on the tree change by selling up, sending rental stocks plummeting.
482, 3 if you like.
So lots of properties are turning over. Not all of them rental, but a lot of them would be. And when rental properties turn over, all too often tenants get turned over as well.
In major cities across the country, the Bureau of Statistics found 10% more home buyers are living in a property they bought, driving the number of rental properties even lower.
When they buy properties, they take up more space in the housing system, and there's a contraction in rental supply when owner-occupiers are active.
According to the real estate data company SQM Research, nationally the average for a house per week was about $440. Now renters are paying about $580 a week.
The housing market's out of control. One of the fundamental problems in Australia is that we've only ever considered housing as being a vehicle for personal wealth creation. We've never understood the criticality of it as a human right.
Housing Trust CEO Michelle Adair says that because rental prices are so expensive, people on high incomes are now having to apply for subsidies.
In Sydney, a single person can earn as much as $86,000 a year and still be eligible for subsidised housing under the New South Wales government's own rules.
The supply of social housing is also falling, from about 8% of total dwellings across the country in the 1990s to just 4% now. Private landlords now account for 26% of all dwellings. Owner-occupiers account for almost 70%.
We've already got a national shortfall of hundreds of thousands of affordable rental homes, conservatively 200,000 homes right now.
The Morrison government said in April it would provide an additional $2 billion in low-cost financing aimed at delivering 29,000 more homes. Labor says it will establish a $10 billion Housing Australia Future Fund, which it says will deliver 30,000 new social and affordable homes over the next 5 years.
Unless we build homes with a specific and a safe guarantee that they are going to be made available only for affordable rental, then we're not doing anything at all.
In Perth, the national president of Australia's real estate lobby, Hayden Groves, agrees more social housing stock is needed.
Yes, an expansion of the social housing is absolutely necessary, and any policy setting from either side of government that encourages more social housing into the market is essential.
But some tenants say the real estate industry itself is partly to blame and is keen to cash in on the rental squeeze.
The place that we have now is significantly more expensive and also significantly smaller and of a lower quality than our last place. On one occasion, we were inspecting a property with a dozen or so other people, and I asked the agent how to be competitive. He said that we should offer more money than what the owner was asking for.
Sam Adams recently moved into an apartment where he pays over $440 a week in this small unit near Brisbane's CBD.
Every 12 months we face the prospect of being told that we have to find somewhere new. And given the low vacancy rates at the moment, we're also expected to put up with poor treatment at the hands of property managers and owners because they know that we can't find somewhere else to live.
We have a really lightly regulated rental sector in Australia. So we give a lot of scope to landlords to increase rents. No Australian jurisdiction regulates rents for affordability.
But the Real Estate Institute believes more regulation on landlords and agents would actually worsen the supply issue.
By swinging the pendulum too far the other way in favour of tenants due to state tenancy laws does impact, because what it does is that a lot of property owners, as a result, will eventually throw their hands up in the air, say it's all too hard, I no longer want to keep this property asset, I'm going to sell.
But the anger from renters and advocates is reaching fever pitch in the lead up to this election.
I am buying a house, but I'm buying a house for someone else.
Everybody starts out renting. It's what we all do when we first leave home. It's what we do when we start our careers. We are already in a housing crisis and it's getting worse while we have governments continuing to devalue the rental market.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.